What's up, everybody? This is Yuán Yùfēng, and I am back with another reading and commentary on the Diamond Cutter Sutra, a commentary by Dzogchen Master Khenpo Dargye. Okay. In the last episode, I went through the preface, and today I'm going to go through the intro and give you my thoughts on the introduction. So, homage to Buddha Shakyamuni, that's Gautama Buddha. Homage to the wisdom warrior Manjushri. Homage to the kind lineage masters. Manjushri is a highly accomplished bodhisattva, and in Buddhism, this concept of a bodhisattva is a spiritual hero that is pursuing the attainment of Buddhahood, pursuing the attainment of enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. And then the lineage masters, just like the masters who inherited the different lineages of the Buddha's teachings. And homage is like, I give honor to. Okay. The subtlest, most profound, and unsurpassable sublime Dharma can be encountered only once in hundreds and thousands of kalpas. Since I am fortunate enough to be able to listen to it and uphold it today, may I understand the original meaning of the Tathagata. Okay. The subtlest, most profound, and unsurpassable sublime Dharma. This Dharma is the teaching of the Buddha, the teaching of the truth of our reality, can be encountered only once in hundreds and thousands of kalpas. A kalpa is like an immeasurably long amount of time, like eons of eons. Just a long time, many rebirths. And basically this teaching states that this profound, unsurpassable, sublime Dharma, it can only be encountered once in hundreds and thousands of kalpas, hundreds and thousands of eons. So we're super blessed to be able to receive this teaching at this time. And yeah, we're just incredibly blessed to be able to, study the teachings on the reality of our universe. And then, since I am fortunate enough to be able to listen to it and uphold it today, may I understand the original meaning of the Tathagata. So yeah, since I'm fortunate enough to be able to listen to it and, carry it out and live it out in my own life, may I understand the original meaning of the Tathagata. That is Tathagata. It's one of the epithets of the Buddha. And I believe it means the thus come one who has thus come and thus gone to the other shore of enlightenment. So he was born just like us into this world, and then he attained enlightenment and was able to go to the other shore of enlightenment, beyond dualistic thought. And then last sentence, in order to liberate all sentient beings are beings that can think, I think, and feel. In order to liberate all sentient beings, may we generate the unsurpassable supreme bodhicitta. That's bodhicitta, bodhicitta. And what bodhicitta is it is the supreme intention to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all. So it's one of the most beautiful intentions that anybody could ever operate with. And it's just an incredible intention, bodhicitta. So it's the setting off and the aspiration to attain enlightenment, to attain ultimate wisdom for the benefit of all beings. Okay, here we go. The Diamond Cutter Sutra can pacify disasters. It can help mitigate disasters. It can help us avoid being affected by disasters. The Diamond Cutter Sutra, also called the 300 Verses of Prajna translates to wisdom, the transcendental wisdom, has enormous influence in Chinese-dominated regions. Every Chinese Buddhist school, whether Chan, Huayan, or Pure Land, has placed great importance on this particular sutra. Chan is Zen Buddhism, Pure Land Buddhism is where people practice to go to the pure land of different Buddhas. It's almost like a Buddhist heaven, but it transcends space and time, and you can actually go and learn the Dharma from Buddhas, from different Buddhas, from them in their own pure land. So yeah, and there's a Buddha called Amitabha. Apparently, if you chant his name 3 times, like Amitabha, 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 and sincerely want to go to his pure land after death, then you get to go. That's the ticket, I think. Just chanting his name 3 times. It's pretty generous of them. But yeah, let's keep going. I feel a little nervous today. I don't know why. Well, I guess I do know why, but I won't get into it. Okay. It has also been included in many people's daily chanting practice. Since its first translation into Chinese by the great translator Kumarajiva around 402, numerous practitioners have clearly recognized the nature of mind, and countless people have avoided calamities by its blessings. Calamities is, disasters. So a lot of people have avoided disasters through the blessings of the Diamond Cutter Sutra. Moreover, here's why. Because everything is manifested by the mind, and it's manifested by the way that we think. Lao Tzu once said, "Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny." And by learning to master the mind through the Diamond Cutter Sutra, you are able to better control and direct the flow of your thoughts, therefore your words, therefore your actions, therefore your habits, character, and destiny. So that's how it actually plays out, among other ways. All right. Moreover, unlike other prajna doctrines, it also occupies a pivotal position in Tibetan Buddhism. Again, prajna is a word that translates to wisdom, and it's the transcendental wisdom of the Buddha that allows you to reach the other shore of enlightenment. That's what prajna is. Prajna. Okay. In Tibetan areas, it is a common practice to recite the Diamond Cutter Sutra 100 times and the Liberation Sutra, it's another teaching, 1,000 times within the first 49 days after a person has died, in order to ensure this person's liberation. People also often recite the Diamond Cutter Sutra in long life prayer ceremonies. That's cool. I want long life. Many versions of this sutra, scribed in gold and silver, have been found at the Jokhang in Lhasa and in the ancient book collections of Inner Mongolia. Understanding its meaning is thus very relevant. All right, I got to look up what a Jokhang is. Jokhang. Okay, what's a Jokhang? Let's check it out together. Jokhang consists of a Tibetan Buddhist temple, its temple complex, and a Gelug school monastery. Okay, cool. Let me see what this looks like. Ooh, it looks cool. It's kind of like a big Buddhist complex. Okay, cool. Didn't know that. In the past, there was an alarming trend among some people who studied Tibetan Buddhism. When they returned to their homes in the Chinese areas, they started to belittle or disrespect the Diamond Cutter Sutra, possibly because after studying Tibetan Buddhism, especially Vajrayana, it translates to the diamond vehicle. It's a school / like a level of Buddhist study that I think transcends even Mahayana, which is the great vehicle. They realize the nature of mind is not merely emptiness, but the union of luminosity and emptiness, which view is held higher than the middle way. I'm not going to go into this right now, but we'll dive into it later, possibly in a different series, because this book is not about Vajrayana, it's about Mahayana. and this teaching, it has different interpretations from different levels, back again to like different levels of math, different levels of understanding of maybe the Bible and stuff like that. The Diamond Cutter Sutra also has different levels of understanding in different teaching perspectives. But yeah, today I am going to focus on the meaning that Dzogchen Master Khenpo Sodarge wanted to communicate, which is not Vajrayana. Through this book, I seek to deliver one message. Tibetan Buddhism and Chinese Buddhism do not contradict each other, but are perfectly integrated in one taste. Since the excellence of the Diamond Cutter Sutra is inconceivable, spread its wisdom whenever there is the opportunity. This will bring immense benefit for both self and others. Some people ask me to teach this sutra from the view of the great perfection. That's yet another way of interpreting and understanding this text. Others ask me to explain it from the view of Mahamudra. That means the great seal. That's another interpretation. However, my personal intention is to explain this sutra so that people will understand its actual meaning. If you've not yet understood its meaning from the view of Sutrayana or middle way, it is unrealistic to jump to the unsurpassed tantric instructions. Therefore, let us first clear up the meaning from the view of Sutrayana. Once we master the ultimate view of the middle school expounded in this sutra, it will be much easier to reach an understanding from the view of the great perfection and Mahamudra. So, Dzogchen Master Khenpo Sodarge in this book is explaining it from the view of Sutrayana, or the middle way. And he's basically saying we got to crawl before we run, before we fly. So let me just look it up a bit more, because I do want to give you a bit more information on this. So first I'm going to look up Sutrayana, or middle way. Then I'm going to look up the great perfection, and then I'll look up Mahamudra and the great perfection. And I'll let you know exactly what these mean, because I got to clarify that too. Okay, so Sutrayana is the Indo-Tibetan threefold classics of yanas. A yana is a Buddhist mode of practice that leads to the realization of emptiness. The three yanas of the Sutrayana are Sravakayana, Pratyeka Buddha yana, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. The third yana, Vajrayana, comprises Tantrayana and Dzogchen. Okay, most often Sutrayana is a classification used in the Vajrayana to refer to the vehicles of Sravakayana and Mahayana. All right, I think this is just confusing us even more, but it's basically, Sutrayana is basically like the ground level basic teaching, the basic view of, and the basic interpretation, whereas the great perfection, let me just go here. The great perfection and Mahamudra are both higher level understanding. So the great perfection is this Dzogchen, that is D-Z-O-G Chen, C-H-E-N, and it's also known as Ati Yoga, the utmost yoga. It's a tradition of teaching in Indo-Tibetan Buddhism and Bon, aimed at discovering and continuing in the ultimate ground of existence. The goal of Dzogchen is the direct experience of this bliss called Rigpa. Okay. And then let me look up Mahamudra. Okay. Mahamudra literally means great seal or great imprint, and refers to the fact that all phenomena inevitably are stamped by the fact of wisdom and emptiness inseparable. Mahamudra is a multivalent term of great importance in later Indian Buddhism, in Tibetan Buddhism, which also occurs occasionally in Hindu and East Asian Buddhist esotericism. The name also refers to a body of teachings representing the culmination of all the practices of the new translation schools of Tibetan Buddhism, who believe it to be the quintessential message of all their sacred texts. Okay. Let me look up Mahamudra versus the Great Perfection. See if there's any difference here. Mahamudra and the Great Perfection are distinct yet related spiritual traditions within Tibetan Buddhism, both emphasizing direct realization of the nature of mind, but differing in their philosophical foundations, practices, and historical development. Mahamudra, most commonly associated with the Kagyu tradition of Tibet, refers to the Great Seal that marks all experience, signifying the ultimate nature of reality as emptiness, luminosity, and non-dual awareness. It is often described as a way of experiencing life free of struggle, grounded in the recognition that all phenomena are empty of inherent existence. Mahamudra practice can involve completion stage techniques working with the subtle body to generate a divine form and non-conceptual gnosis, and it is considered the highest practice that transcends and perfects all previous ones. The tradition emphasizes direct pointing out instructions from a qualified teacher and the cultivation of a state of non-dual awareness, often described through metaphors like space. In contrast, the Great Perfection is the central teaching of the Nyingma school and is considered an independent tradition from its inception, with its own texts, lineages, and practices. It teaches that enlightenment is not a result of cause and effect or effort, but rather the recognition of one's innate Buddha nature, which is already pure, complete, and spontaneously present. The Great Perfection does not rely on ritualized empowerments or systematic visualizations like those in Mahayoga or Anu Yoga traditions. Instead, it depends on a direct transmission of knowledge called the potentiality of Vidya empowerment, where a qualified guru introduces the student directly into the state of great perfection through words, symbols, and shared awareness. The practice involves abiding effortlessly in pristine awareness, allowing all Buddha qualities to manifest spontaneously. Okay, while both traditions emphasize the primordial purity and non-dual nature of mind, the Great Perfection places a stronger emphasis on the immediacy and spontaneity of realization, often dismissing meditative practices as inherently dualistic because they involve a subject observing an object, though it doesn't necessarily have to be so. In contrast, Mahamudra, while also non-dual, incorporates structured practices and meditative techniques as part of its path, even if they are ultimately transcended. Okay, cool. Thus, while both Mahamudra and the Great Perfection point to the same ultimate reality, the unconditioned luminous nature of mind, they differ in their approach. Mahamudra often involves a more structured path of practice leading to direct insight, while the Great Perfection emphasizes immediate recognition of the already complete state of enlightenment. Wow. Okay. I learned something there too. Thanks for coming along with me. And that's really interesting. Well, nevertheless, I'm going to do my best to help you understand this text from the view of Sutrayana, or middle way, as taught by Dzogchen Master Khenpo Siddhargye. Okay, even the translations of the Diamond Cutter Sutra are highly blessed. I'm also going to try to share as high of an elevation of perspective as I can, because I have my own perspective on it, and I'm not sure where they would be classified in terms of, is this the view of Mahamudra? Is this the view of the Great Perfection? Well, actually, whichever one it was that was more structured, some of my views might be classified in there. But yeah, let's keep going. Even the translations of the Diamond Cutter Sutra are highly blessed. Several translations of the Diamond Cutter Sutra have existed in Chinese areas, the earliest of which was translated by Kumarajiva, 343 to 413, in the later Qin of the Dongjin dynasty, which was from 317 to 420. Afterward, this sutra was also translated by Bodhi Ruchi, ca. 5th to 6th century, during the Northern Wei dynasty, that was from 386 to 534, Paramartha, 499 to 569, during the Southern dynasty, Dharmagupta during the Sui dynasty, 581 to 618, and Xuanzang, 602 to 664, and Yi Jing, 653 to 713 of the Tang dynasty. Among all the translations, I Ching's version is closest to the Tibetan version, while Kumarajiva's version differs somewhat from it. There are several possible reasons for these discrepancies. Discrepancies are differences. At the time of Kumarajiva, Buddhism was still flourishing in India, and so there might have been different Sanskrit versions. By the way, this is just the semi-logistical stuff. We're going to get into the real stuff soon. But yeah, we have to go through this. Furthermore, since Kumarajiva's translation assembly had over 500 people, there was a greater chance of some mistakes slipping into the transcription of his interpretation. Nevertheless, as his translation was blessed by the truthful speech of great accomplishers, chanting it can create inconceivable merit. This has been proven by the countless numbers of people who have attained enlightenment by relying on this version. As for the Tibetan Diamond Cutter Sutra, there is only one existing translation. After comparing the various versions from Lhasa, Qinghai, and so forth, let me see where Qinghai is. That Qinghai definitely sounds like it's in China. So let me just see. Qinghai. All right, it's a province of China, an inland province in northwestern China. It is the largest province of China, excluding autonomous regions by area, and has the third smallest population, with its capital and largest city being Xining. Okay, cool. Sweet. Where were we? There we go, and so forth. I found they are all exactly the same as the version found in the Prajna, Perfection of Wisdom section of the Kangyur. The Kangyur, Kangyur, is the standard canon of the Buddha's teachings. A canon is a formally recognized body of text that is known to be the official curriculum of a certain religion or tradition. It could be anything. A canon, there's also musical canons. It's just like the real deal, the legit stuff that is recognized. Okay, for this teaching, I use Kumarajiva's translation. Oh, by the way, if you want to check out the Kangyur and more, there's a great website called 84,000.co. 84,000.co, where you can go and you can self-study. You can check out the different teachings of the Buddha. And what's cool is they say that the Buddha gave 84,000 different teachings throughout the course of his life, which is incredible. That's a huge, huge body of work, and it's super impressive. I mean, imagine some person giving 84,000 different teachings. And the Diamond Cutter Sutra, is only one singular teaching, which is insane if you think about it. That's actually crazy. Let me see how long the Buddha taught. How long did the Buddha teach? I believe it was 49 years. The Buddha taught for 45 years after his enlightenment. Okay, 45 years. Apologies. Awesome. Okay. For this teaching, I use Kumarajiva's translation along with the translations by Xuanzang and I Ching for reference, since I Ching's is closest to the Tibetan version. My modern English translation of the Sutra passage, bolded and italicized, is perfectly faithful to the original sutra as translated by Kumarajiva into ancient Chinese. After the translation comes my commentary on the sutra passage, which I'm excited to get you to. My commentary occasionally refers to Xuanzang's and I Ching's versions or to the Tibetan edition in order to give the contemporary reader, the modern reader, the reader of the current times, the deepest perspective possible on the sutra passage. And I aim to take it even deeper. The structure of the text. Usually, sutras are not divided or structured according to an outline. If you've not yet studied any sutra, keep in mind that they often have repetitions that may sometimes obscure the meaning. Commentaries, however, have chapters and sections based on an outline whose intent is usually to clarify ambiguities and highlight relevant passages from other sutras. Even though it is said to be just a translation of the sutra, Kumarajiva's version adds some features of a commentary in that it has been divided into 32 chapters. This division does indeed make it easier for readers to understand the meaning stage by stage. This arrangement is not found in the Tibetan version or other Chinese translations. It is almost certain that this 32-chapter arrangement was added not by Kumarajiva, but by Crown Prince Zhao Ming of the Liang dynasty. That's of China. Some people may say no conceptual thoughts should ever be added in Sutra. Therefore, since he divided the sutra into chapters, Crown Prince Zhao Ming has been suffering in the hells until now. We cannot be certain that this is true, however. Generally speaking, no. So it's kind of interesting. In the Buddhist worldview, there actually are different heavens and different hells. Most people don't even know this. But let me just break down the Buddhist cosmology real quick for everybody. Okay. Here we go. I'll take this from Wikipedia. Where do we go? Okay. Let me find a good one. Actually, let me not use the Wikipedia. Okay. The Buddhists, following the traditions of their Indian forefathers, saw the universe as infinite in time and space, and filled with an infinite number of worlds like our own. Above our ordinary world, there are two realms, the realm of form and the even higher realm of formlessness. Below these is the realm of desire, which contains 6 domains, each with its own kinds of beings. Okay, devas, or gods. So there are gods in the Buddhist cosmology. Asuras, or titans, or jealous gods or demigods. Humans, animals, hungry ghosts, and demons, hell beings. So in Buddhist cosmology, all these different beings are said to exist. Let me see. All of the above, even in the realms of form and formlessness, are in samsara, imperfect existence, and are therefore governed by karma and its fruits, vipaka. Ooh, that's a good one. Vipaka. I should learn that. So the fruits of karma are vipaka. That's awesome to know. The world extends around Mount Meru. Mount Meru is like the Yggdrasil of the Buddhist cosmology. Yggdrasil is like the world tree. It's like the Mount Olympus. Above the peak is the realm of the Buddha fields, or heavens. On the upper slopes you find the gods. The titans live on the lower slopes. Animals and humans live on the plains around the mountain. Hungry ghosts live on or just below the surface, and hell is deep under the earth. All this is surrounded by a great ocean. Time in Buddhist cosmology is measured in kalpas. Originally, a kalpa was considered to be 4,320,000 years. Wow, that's cool. Okay. So they're basically saying that, like, this book, this teaching, let me go back here. The subtlest, most profound, and unsurpassable sublime Dharma can be encountered only once in hundreds and thousands of kalpas. So we can only encounter this teaching and the teachings of the Buddha once in hundreds and thousands times of 4,320,000 years. So that's like 400 million to 4 billion years. One lifetime in all those. That's crazy if it's true. If it is true, I definitely feel incredibly blessed. I feel incredibly blessed regardless. But man, imagine if that was true. That'd be crazy. We got to make that more often for everybody. Okay, let's keep going. Buddhist scholars explained it with a metaphor. Rub a 1 mile cube of rock once every 100 years with a piece of silk until the rock is worn away and a kalpa still hasn't passed. Wow. During a kalpa, the world comes into being, exists, is destroyed, and a period of emptiness ensues. Then it all starts again. Some actors in the Buddhist mythological drama include Brahma, the supreme diva, who convinced Buddha to teach. Okay, that's cool. So there is a Brahma, that's the supreme God. Perhaps Brahma is the Christian God. Who knows? It'd be pretty interesting to know. Indra, a major diva, originally the Hindu sky god. Prajna, goddess of wisdom. Buddha's mother was considered an incarnation. Mara, a diva associated with death and hindrances to enlightenment. It was Mara who tempted Buddha under the Bodhi tree. That would be kind of the devil, I guess. Yama, the king of the 21 hells. That might be like an Osiris figure in Egyptian mythology, or a Hades in Greek mythology. Nagas, great serpents or dragons or water creatures. The king of the Nagas protected Buddha from a storm. Gandharvas, angelic beings who provided the gods with music. I guess just like angels. Okay, cool. So that is the Buddhist cosmology. I hope you enjoyed that, and I definitely enjoyed learning that. So here we go. Generally speaking, no conceptual thoughts should be added to the sutras, as they are the words of the Buddha. So basically, we shouldn't be adding anything extra into the words of the Buddha. If the intention is not to slander the text, however, adding and he's saying like changing the original text. Like we can't change the original. We should not be changing the original text. It's okay to come up with commentaries, because there's been a whole bunch of commentaries, including this one and the one that I'm sharing on top of this one. Generally speaking, no conceptual thoughts should be added to the sutras, as they are the words of the Buddha. If the intention is not to slander the text, however, adding chapters or outlines to help readers understand cannot be of great fault. So he's just saying it can't be that bad. Since ordinary people are unable to judge the correlation of a karmic cause and its effect, I am unable to find out whether it is indeed the worst offense that Crown Prince Jiaoming put his own ideas in the arrangement of Kumarajiva's Diamond-Cutter Sutra. It happened once that a lay practitioner is a Buddhist practitioner that does not become a monk or a nun. They're just like a normal person, just like me and you, living in society, living in cities, living wherever you want to live, and who practice Buddhism. But you can be a lay practitioner of different traditions as well, I think. But I digress. It happened once that a lay practitioner, based on his own interpretation, mixed finding comfort and ease in the nature of mind on the Great Perfection and the guide of 3 topics and 3 virtues together, which resulted in something completely incoherent. Those are 2 different teachings. I have not dived personally into these teachings. So I wrote a letter to tell him that we ordinary beings are not qualified to mix teachings in this way, and asked him to quit altering the Vajra words of the omniscient Longchenpa. He's another great Buddhist teacher. Following this logic, Crown Prince Jiaoming's arrangement is indeed inappropriate. Nonetheless, what he did does help us to understand the meaning of this sutra. And so, according to the Chinese Buddhist tradition, we will study this sutra in 32 chapters. I personally don't think Crown Prince Jiaoming did anything too bad at all. I mean, he just put them into different chapters. Like, he didn't change the words at all. So I don't think it's bad at all. He basically just divided them. No big deal. According to Tibetan Buddhism, the way to, in my opinion, that's not the opinion of all Buddhists. That's just my personal opinion. According to Tibetan Buddhism, the way to teach a sutra is to divide it into 3 parts: the initial virtue, the title, the middle virtue, the meaning, and the virtuous ending, the conclusion. I will also follow this convention. Now, let us study these one by one. Alrighty, there we go. That was the intro. I hope you enjoyed it. It was like a lot of logistics that we kind of had to cover, but it had to be done. And hopefully you learned something new in this, but now we are about to get into the meat of the real Diamond-Cutter Sutra, and I am super stoked to guide you through it. So thanks for coming, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, peace.